Welcome to another episode of Challenging the Norm. Here's an hers look at life and business with your hosts, Paul Snell and myself, Lindsay Burden. The podcast for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business owners that want to experience success in their own way. Wrestling with the topics that matter and reality checking the latest trends in business. Paul works with business owners, showing them how they can take the stress out of transforming teams into performance powerhouses that love what they do, while I offer business coaching that empowers ambitious women in business to create financial abundance and a time-rich lifestyle without sacrificing their joy.
Morning, Lindsay.
Good
Recording
morning.
time again. Looking forward to a new episode. Lindsay, I know you're going to tell us how you are, because that's the important thing. And then you're going to let us know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but first of all, I'm laughing. Just laughing. Because this is our second attempt, is it not?
Don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anyone. I think this episode is going to be even better. One, because we are actually recording it, so that's a good thing. That's always helpful. And two, because we've just had the most incredible conversation, as we always do, in setting the scene. And we've titled this episode, Is Doing More Damaging Your Reputation? And there's so many different nuances and angles to this, but we have seen it. We've probably done it, let's be honest. When things aren't going quite right, you're not hitting the income level, the targets aren't there, everything feels out of reach. We kind of go into panic. Well, no, kind of. I know I have in the past. You go into panic mode. And then you start doing more marketing, more activity, attending every single networking event, the opening of an envelope with that almost energy of desperation, which we know doesn't help and doesn't work. And even to the point where we can find ourselves lowering our prices. And I think, well, there's so many parts of this, isn't there? And I don't even know which one we want to explore first.
I think for me, it's understanding that start point, right? Doing more, the activity of doing more comes from somewhere. The thing that kicks that off, the instigator of doing more, comes from somewhere. And I know you and I have chatted about this, and I'm sure there's lots of people listening who experience this, whereby you start a business, and I'm just picking that for now. I know there's people that will already have their business, but you start a business with a plan. Well, at least I hope you start with a plan. And in that plan, there is probably the idea of a order pipeline, a forecast, the ability to go, by month, end of month 1, month 2, month 3, this is my expected income. This is the orders I expect to have. We start there. And if you have a business that achieves that, I want to congratulate you, because you're in the minority.
Yeah.
As hard as that sounds, the reality is having a business can be challenging to begin with. And so what I want to say is, you get to say month 3, we'll pick month 3, you get to month 3 and you're not hitting those targets. And in some cases, you're not hitting any targets. So what do you do at that point? You have a tendency to start to think in a way that's almost panic driven. If I don't do this, it's going to be a disaster. If I don't do some form of action or take some form of route on this, I'm going to end up getting a job or losing the business. And I'm not belittling that, right? Those are horrendous thoughts. And I know you and I have been there.
Yeah.
But that is often the instigator, the thing that kicks off this idea of doing more and risking your reputation. Fair?
Yeah, I think it is. And while you were talking, there was something coming up for me. And it's not, this isn't a scenario I don't believe, but could be at that beginning. Because we all get to that point, I think, throughout our journey. We will hit that point at numerous times and go, why don't I just go and get a job? It's got to be easier. What isn't working? And really looking for all those external things that we can fix, because then it'll all be better. But I certainly know in those moments, if I look in the past when I've gone, this isn't working, I need to get a job, although that tends to be a much later thought or the one in the middle of the night. What tends to happen is I go, do you know what? I am done with this not
Mm.
working.
Mm.
I need to change. I need to do things differently. And I think that, no, I know there are two paths you can then take. You can then start doing all the things, everything that everyone is telling you, every $27 solution that you can find, and you will burn yourself out trying to do all those things. Or you take a step back, which is what happens to me. I was going to say tend to happen, and I'm thinking back, but I've always gone, okay, actually, what is the work that I need to be doing? And perhaps in the earlier stages, I was really lucky. It did work out, and I did get, replace my salary, etc. And that happened quite easily. So I think these thoughts came later. So therefore, I had experience and knowledge, and I had financial abundance, shall we say. There was money in the bank to pay the bills. So I think there is that. No, I don't think I know that you get to that point in, don't you? And then there are two routes. And what we see too often is people go through that, right? I'll just do more of this. I'll just do some of that. I'll just get involved. I'll just do that. And this one did happen to me. I'll go into partnership with them because that'll be easier. And they've got great following and they're really good and they know what they're doing. Or you stand in your power and go, hang on a minute. So I think that sometimes the catalyst can be for the good, because it will mean you will stop doing the things that are not moving your business forward. Suddenly, how much time you spend on social media being visible, pretending that you are visible, doing air quotes for anyone who's listening, you'll go, hang on a minute, that doesn't bring any business in. So therefore, that's not where I need to be spending my time. So there are these, I think they're catalyst moments. I think there are moments in our business, probably in our lives as well, if we look at those, where you just stop. But there are two paths, possibly more paths that you can take.
I think that's a really good perspective, because I think the point at which you have these catalyst moments, they have a tendency to bring some degree of clarity. So you sit there and go, do you know what? This is the real situation here and now. This is where I'm at here and now. And then you're faced with, I think we can keep it to two routes to take. I think there's lots of choices, but two routes. I think the route of clarity can be, I'm going to stop faffing around on, no, that's not fair. Because I know social media can be a good thing, but I'm going to stop spending half my day on it. I'm going to refocus. I'm just going to revisit the plan and revisit where I want to be. So that's a very positive route to take. And in my experience, can lead to really good outcomes. However, the easier route, right? The easier route is to go, okay, I need to do something here, and I'm going to do it from a place of panic.
Yeah.
And you've touched on one already, which is the most common one, which is, I need to sell something, so I'll just drop my price. And I'll keep dropping them until I sell something.
Yeah.
There's no clarity, by the way, down that route. There is no clarity there. You're heading down a route here, which is a dark tunnel, because the reality of dropping price and price points is, A, it's a race to the bottom. No one's going to make any money. But most importantly, all it does is tell people that your service, if you're a service-based business, like a coach or a consultant, your service clearly isn't worth much.
Yeah.
Because that's how people think, right? We all think that if we make it cheap, people will buy it. And actually, people buy on emotion.
Yes.
So if they think you're doing it cheap, and they think it's just a small payment for some of your time, they will not take that time seriously.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with a client who doesn't care, who's not interested. And the one day again, well, that didn't work for me, did it? So your quick fix is no longer a quick fix at all. And it's exactly what we're saying at the start of this podcast, is doing more risking your reputation.